What's up, everybody? Maine Fly Guys here with another tutorial. Gonna be tying a Klinkhammer today. This isn't a traditional Klinkhammer hook, but it's what I'm gonna use today. It has a similar imitation. This is actually an emerging hook. We're gonna use Goose Biot for the body, something a little different, but I really like. So, to start, I'm using 6/0 olive uni thread. You can use 8/0 too. 8/0's fine, but 6/0, it's a little more rugged, and for this fly, I just think that a little more rugged is a little better. So start in with the post. What I do is I like the post to start about 1.5 inches back. So all you need to do is wrap it in. You don't need to make your post to start. Just wrap it in. Make sure all the fibers, these are a little crazy long. Make sure all the fibers are in place where you want. So that's where it will start. That's where the post will be. It'll look like something like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to cut these back fibers at an angle. So trim them right down. Cut at an angle. That way, when you go to wrap back, you will have created a taper. You'll have created sort of a natural taper for your body, so you don't really need to do any work with that. So you can just work backwards, and you'll see what I mean in a second. And so right there you can see the front part is just a little thicker. So just like that, we have our natural taper. And I'm gonna go down, not all the way to the bend, but pretty close. So I'm gonna definitely get into the bend of the hook a little bit. These Goose Biots aren't super long, so they can be frustrating to work with at times, but the turkey Biots are a lot longer, but I like this this Goose Biot. So whatever side you want to be showing up, there's sort of a duller side and a shiny side. You want the side that you want to be up, tie it in away from you. So I always tie in the shiny side down, and I start with the small tip. So just catch that. And again, these are very brittle, so don't be too rough when you are pulling them. Also, they tend to slip. And then just work your way back up to where you think you want the body to end. I am hopefully going to have it end right there. I like to have it finish 1 eye length behind where the post is going to go. So right about there is about 1 eye length. That is where I like it to finish. So here I come in, grab my my Goose Biot, and just begin to wrap it. If you have a rotary vise, now would be the time to use that function, because it is very, very, very useful in seeing if your wraps are lining up correctly. So I don't want these, I want them just one out front of the other. I don't want them overlapping at all. Just one right out front of the other. And so here I have come to my end perfectly. Do not let that slip away, because that is very frustrating. So there, I'm about 1 eye length away. I have a nice little body. Oh, that's a little mistake there. Let's fix that. There we go. How's that look? Much better. So here we have this little body. Little fuzzy body. The turkey Biots have these little frilly back edges. When you pull them down, they kind of fuzz up, so it gives it a little segmentation. So Right now what I'm going to do is come to the front of my post, kind of lock it in, and I am going to lock in my post with wraps around it. Hopefully you guys can see this. The tighter the wraps, the better. So if you can get tight wraps to start, that will only help you later down the road. And you can go up as high as you want or as low as you want. Don't be afraid to get high up there. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to start working my way down. And there we have a pretty skinny post. So next I'm going to tie in my hackle that I'm going to be wrapping around the post. This hackle, as you can see here, I've made a little anchor post on my hackle. I've also stripped the feather, a few of the fibers on this side, so that when it wraps, it can wrap nice and tight on the first couple wraps. You want to tie it in with the shiny side facing you. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Shiny side facing you. There we go. That's not great. That's not bad. Alright, and then once you've caught it, you can sort of just lock it in, working your way up the post. So there we go, I've caught it, so I'm going to work my way back down. Okay, pretty good. And what really helps, I find, with the stabilization of this post is just dropping a little bit of glue on it. You can either use Zap-A-Gap. I'm about to use some super glue. Zap-A-Gap works just as well, but just a little drop. It's probably too much. Drop it on there. This will keep it upright in the right position, and it will make wrapping your hackle a lot easier. So I highly recommend it. I like to use a super glue just because it dries really quickly. So you're pretty much ready to go as soon as you get it on there. Okay, so now I'm going to work back to the end of my body, and I'm going to add a little thorax. Now, you can add legs or something like that if you want. I'm not going to, but I am going to add sort of a naturally, this is red squirrel dubbing. I don't want it to be kind of all over the place. I want it to be pretty clean, so I'm going to wax my thread and try to get these fibers to really stick tight to the thread here. So I'm just gonna, and you don't want too much because you don't want to build up the thorax too much. You just want really enough to cover your thread. Just enough to cover your thread. So here's what I have, just a little straight pencil, and oops, this came undone, it's okay. Alright, so I have a few loose fibers that kind of came undone, and that's okay, we can just trim those. Few loose guys. Just a few loose ones, not bad. So, here I have a pretty nice little ball, kind of ball looking thorax, nice and pretty tight. Very buggy looking. Yeah, that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back up and over to the base of the the post here, and I'm going to show you that, guys, again. So I'm right at the front here. I have a securing wrap there, and just right up. So the thread's on closest to my side, right up and over to the base of the post. And all I do is a few wraps there just to cement it, and then bring your thread back to the near side closest to you. So now I have my hackle, and I'm ready to wind it up. So here, I'm just gonna grab the tip, my hackle pliers, and let's see if we can't get it to go. There we go. So I like to do as many wraps as possible. Here I'm going to do probably 4 or 5. When you get to the base, be very careful. Not to trap any fibers down. So just kind of work your way in there, and I like to just catch it twice. And that's it. I just only catch it twice, and then bring your scissors in, cut that little tip out. Okay. This hackle is not super great. There's a few errant hackle fibers down low, and I'm just going to cut those out because I don't really like the way they look. So once you've got your wraps done, everything's secured, you can come on in and whip finish right at the base of your post. I'm going to cut the post, and where to cut it, I usually cut it the same length as the fiber of the hackle. So estimate that out a bit. Yeah, that looks right about right. There's my post. Actually looks a little, that's not bad. Alright, so what I do is I come in, grab my thread, and whip finish right around the bottom. Now just be super careful not to grab any fibers. Once you've done, I usually just do 3, that's usually enough. Come in, boom, give it a nice tight finish. There's my post all set. Everything's good. This isn't the best hackle of all time, but it'll do the job, that's for sure. So once you're done, you can come in. So here's basically my finished product, a nice little Klinkhammer. You can come in and sort of rip some fibers out that you don't like. And there's a few in there that are not to my pleasure, but it's not the end of the world. So here, this will float nicely in the water. Your hackle and your post up here will float on top while your body sits down in the water. Great for emerging insects. If you can't figure out what's emerging, you know, this is a good pattern to throw. Something like this. It's pretty simple, easy to make, and looks very good. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.